Hello again and welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and I want to address something that kind of seems to be coming to the forefront. I've been seeing a lot online, and I'm just going to humbly give my opinion on it. And the question that I keep seeing, as well as people's answer to the question, is can you buy your way out of survival? Guess I could actually do that a little bit better on can you buy your way to survive in an SHTF situation? That's probably a little better. Now, of course, yes, money does make things a heck of a lot easier, but there's a caveat to this. So, if I am a single man and I make six figures a year and my property is paid off, my house is paid off, my vehicle is paid off, my bills are, a third of what I bring in monthly, then I have a lot of disposable income that I can buy a bunch of cool techie things and shiny objects. I can afford to travel and go to various places to get better training. I can go and take classes from very skilled, high level people and learn from the best of the best. Somebody that does not make that same amount of money does not get the same amount of opportunities. Now, does that mean that their chances of survival goes way down compared to the man with money? No, it does not. Your success depends largely on you. You have to put yourself into the best that you possibly can with what you have available. Now, you cannot get that confused with making the excuses of, well, I'm comfortable. You should always be trying to do things to better yourself, to put yourself and your friends, your family, your loved ones into a better position to survive. Really, that means doing a lot of education, a lot of learning, a lot of things so that way you can better yourself mentally, you can better yourself physically, you can better prepare for whatever is inevitably going to come. So that way you give you and whoever is around you or is going to be in the situation with you the best possible chance for the best outcome. Now, there is going to be a lot of luck into it, no matter who you are. It's going to be one of those things that you're not going to be able to prepare for everything. You're going to try your best to prepare for as many things as you think that you possibly could encounter, but it's completely and statistically impossible to prepare for everything. Especially when humans are involved. You have the human factor. And so you have to make sure you're realistic, one, before you go off into anything else. So you have to prepare for the probable versus the possible. And really, the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to make a list. Go through and do what is probable, what is possible, and then give those a number. So that way, when you are doing your probable, I live in a place that is prone to flooding, to tornadoes, to hurricanes, to earthquakes, droughts. I live in a place that, is downtown and it's prone to traffic jams or protests or anything along those lines. I live way out in the middle of nowhere, and I am in an area to where logistics can sometimes become a major problem if the bridge gets, washed away or put out of service for whatever reason. There's a lot of things that you have to put down into your probable. Keeping up with the news and the headlines can alter that. Your list will vary and change throughout. What is probable today may have a few things get added to it next week. A few things may fall off and go from probable to possible. And so you have to make sure that you at least, once a month, go through and edit your list. Make sure that you are getting prepared for all the things that are probable to the best of your abilities. Now, to get back onto it, if you are a person that you are living comfortably, you're not rich by any means, but you're also not wondering where your next meal is going to come from, then you are probably in that middle of the road, average ish kind of person. There is a ton of people, and that is growing by the day, that is living paycheck to paycheck. Sad, I get it. But it does not mean that they cannot survive an SHTF situation. Okay, now, in the purposes of this example, we're going to say it is some sort of global situation that arises. Now, it's made it into the news that you have all these rich billionaires, all these people, these Mark Zuckerbergs, these Bill Gates, these Jeff Bezos, and all these whatever people. And they're building these underground bunkers, lavish lifestyle, stocking them full of all sorts of stuff, staffing them, having high end, kind of guerrilla mercenary protection sort of people and all that. And I see it a ton in the social media that everybody's pointing to them and using them as an example. Look, if they're getting ready, they're going to, make it through and all this other whatever nonsense. Well, here's an idea. Those people that's providing that security, and I will bet my bottom dollar on this, they are biding their time, because if that event ever does come to where Operation Lockdown needs to go into effect, so whatever person you want to put, Mr. and Mrs. Billionaire, rushes off by helicopter and lands at their bunker. And all the staff is flown in, and they start locking down everything, and getting a safe perimeter established. Security detail goes on through, and finally does their sweep. Maybe it takes a few days, maybe it takes a couple of weeks to really get everything to calm down to where, okay, things are under control. I'm going to bet my last and bottom dollar that the next sound that you will hear is the sound of a pop of some sort of firearm, and those useless eaters that paid for it all will be no more. Or you will hear the clang of the metal door and the locks being locked behind them as they get shoved out into whatever the situation is. For the people that have the firearms will then make the rules. The people that got bought and paid for, they will be the ones that now operate and basically own that facility. Remember, loyalty cannot be bought. They can seem really loyal, but I'm going to take and wager that when everything goes through, that you have some billionaire 2 weeks, a month, whatever time you want to put into it, is going to look down on that peasant holding that piece of plastic and a little bit of metal, and start to chastise them that they didn't bring their cookies quick enough, or that they didn't do something to their liking, and they are not appeased by the situation. And so they will start doing what they have always done, and they will consider themselves here and not equals. They will not be thankful. They will always think that they are above everybody else. Huge mistake, because it's going to cost them in the end. They think money buys everything. They think that money buys loyalty. They think that money will get it to where they can buy their way onto the other side of SHTF, and it is simply not true. If you are like me, which I'm guessing that most of you are because I seem to be somewhat relatable that you keep coming back to watch me, then you do what you can with the means that you have available to you. You watch people like me on the YouTubes. You read books and articles. You go out to different events or classes. You take training. You do things to better yourself. You do things so that way it helps you get better prepared. You take classes over to kind of do a brushing up so that way you are continuing. Just because you take a class and learn how to tie a few knots, by the time the weekend is over, in a month, do you still remember how to tie that same knot? Do you remember the purpose of tying that knot? Now, if you want to look at it, if I take and I issue a challenge and I have person A on this side and person B on this side, and person A has a lot of money, and they go out and they buy this new age tent. It's made of UV resistant Kevlar material, triple stitched with whatever materials to where the zippers don't break off, and all this other things. And the tent poles are this space age aluminum and things like that. And then the other guy basically has a couple of things in his, ripped up canvas bag. And I say, you have 1 hour to make camp. And the one guy reaches down and pulls a string, and a new space age tent pops up. And he, opens up some other little compartment and pulls out some other device that, helps him start a fire right then and there, and this and that, and all this other stuff. And the other guy starts cobbling together with, a very well used pocket knife, and starts crafting things from a garbage bag and zip ties and duct tape and paracord. And I tell them that now that they have both successfully, keep that in mind, successfully, in 1 hour have set up camp, they must stay there for 1 month. At what point in time does the guy that has a ton of money start to run out of those things, where the other guy has the knowledge, the skill, and the talent to be able to utilize the things that are around him so he can fulfill his needs? Now, I'm not saying that somebody that has a lot of money has zero chance of survival. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that a lot of times the people think that they can buy their way through an SHTF. It gives them a false sense of security. And I know we've thrown that term around a lot, but it is really true. But it's also the same thing, too. Just because you have a bunch of skill and knowledge and, a few little tools and things like that, doesn't guarantee you anything. I don't care where on the spectrum you are. You can be male or female. You can be young or old. You can be whatever skin color, religion, whatever you want to be. Nothing, say it again, nothing guarantees you that you will make it to the other side. That's part of prepping as well. You have to be prepared that it just may not happen. Okay. And you can chalk that up to whatever you want to. But statistically, in a really, really bad event, really bad, we're talking, uh, you know, some sort of chaotic global event, you have, let's say, 40 people in your mag. Statistically, some of you are not going to make it. You guys can train every day, day in and day out. You guys can work together. You guys can go through and have the really great garden. You can have some of the best medically trained people there. You can have everything set up that homeschooling is great. The kids are taken care of. The livestock is great. All it takes is for one unforeseen event to cascade everything down to where somebody or somebody's is not going to make it. It's just facts. It's ugly. It's uncomfortable to talk about. The point is to make sure that you are not one of those statistics. Then your next task is to try and make those around you not one of those statistics. You're not going to be successful 100% of the time. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. It is what it is. It's part of being human. I make mistakes all the time. It's what you do with those mistakes. You have to learn from them. You have to utilize those mistakes so that way you know what not to do, what didn't work. And sometimes you do everything correctly and still get a bad outcome. And sometimes you don't change. You're not supposed to on that. You did everything correctly. It was just some weird anomalous event. It was just some crazy monkey wrench that just popped out of nowhere. If the same situation arose again, if you did the exact same thing the exact same way at the exact same time, it would work. Sometimes you have to learn that lesson as well, that you did everything right. It just didn't come out at the end. And so, to get back on track, you have to utilize what you have. Make sure that you are not going through and having a false sense of security. Make sure that you are not giving excuses. Woe is me, I don't have the money. Woe is me, I don't have the time. Make the time. If it's important, you will make the time. If it is important, you will figure out another avenue to create an income. And if you are going to listen to this and go, well, I can't get another $1,000 a week or a month or whatever to do all this stuff. If you need an extra $1,000 a week, then something is wrong. Okay. To be able to do some sort of something to where you can utilize that as an extra source of income to where it'll help you, that would be a very good thing. And you can utilize it in prepping. Maybe it's time to get a couple of chickens. Those chickens will provide you with some food. You will be able to eat the eggs. You will be able to eat the chickens. You can utilize the feathers that maybe you can start crafting and making things like a down blanket or some sort of a coat or something along those lines. You can use the fertilizer. You can then sell the extra eggs. Maybe you have a rooster and now you can start selling the chicks. There's all sorts of things that you can do. And I'm not trying to sit here and say that a handful of chickens is going to make you rich. It could, but we're talking about providing yourself with a little extra income. Make it to where it benefits you. Buy some paracord, learn how to make something, sell that. You are getting something out of you learning. That's all there is to it. You have extra paracord, and if something happens, you have a bunch of paracord lying around. If you need to be able to make things to repair, you need a new strap or a belt or whatever else, you have paracord. Then, right now, during this time of quote unquote peace, you can sell that stuff to other people. Maybe somebody needs a belt or a dog leash or anything along those lines. While you're sitting there learning and practicing and getting better all the time, you're providing a service and an item to somebody else at a cost. And you take that profit and now you can reinvest it into yourself. The greatest investment you can possibly make is not land, is not precious metals. It is in you to better yourself, to make you better each and every day. So, I've rambled enough. So if you hopefully somebody out there got a little bit of maybe a wake up call, some motivation, if you will. Maybe somebody who will take this and be able to utilize it. Share this out with some friends and family. If somebody is beginning to consider prepping or they're just starting out in prepping, share this out with them. This is a channel that is for those new preppers and the people that want to learn. That's what this is all about, is to communicate and to network and to help each other. So, if you made it to this far in the video, guess what? You rock. I greatly appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. And I want to tell you that you need to stay around because there is definitely more information to come. And with that, I want to remind you that above all else, please remember to remain united because we're all prepping in this together.